Good evening. 1 week ago today, devastation struck this small Montana community of Anaconda. 1 week ago today, Michael Paul Brown took the lives of 4 Montanans before fleeing the scene. Our brave men and women in uniform didn't waste a second. Law enforcement jumped into action, began the search with the promise to not give up until they found this suspect. Today, I'm grateful to report that Michael Brown has been apprehended, arrested, and is in custody. Standing alongside me today are members of our local, state, and federal law enforcement partners who haven't stopped searching since the very beginning. They responded to every call. They followed up on every tip. They spent hours climbing over these mountains looking for this criminal. They used every resource available to them to search for him. Thank you does not cover what we owe to these brave men and women. Sacrifice, time away from families, placing their lives on the line to bring peace of mind back to this community and this criminal to justice. Before I hand it over to Attorney General Knudsen to share more about the actual arrest, I'd like to once again acknowledge the loss of the 4 victims. Daniel Edwin Bailey, Nancy Loretta Kelly, David Allen Leach, and Tony Wayne Palm. And extend our prayers to their families. Thank you for remembering them and doing what you can to support those families. At this time, I'd like to invite Attorney General Knudsen to provide an update on the apprehension and the arrest.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. Good afternoon. It's a good day. We got our man. Michael Paul Brown is in custody. He was arrested today, 1 week later at approximately 2 p.m. this afternoon. That's roughly. He was apprehended just west of Anaconda, near the Ranch Bar, just south of Highway 1. There's a number of agencies we have to thank here. First of all, what I've been hearing just over and over is this really is an unprecedented level of cooperation. State agencies, local agencies, and federal agencies, this was seamless, folks. This is not the type of thing that you see very often. With all the federal partners, our state agencies, and our local law enforcement agencies working hand in hand to make sure that the right thing gets done here, that is nothing short of staggering. I want to thank Anaconda Deer Lodge Police Department, Montana DCI obviously was involved, the FBI, the U.S. Marshal Service. I really want to give them a special thank you. Marshal Service was a huge asset to us here today, all week, but today especially. They were directly involved with this apprehension. We had over 39 local, county, state, federal teams, well over 250 law enforcement personnel in the area. Specifically involved in the takedown today of Michael Paul Brown, the U.S. Marshals Service Fugitive Task Force, Montana DCI. I want to give a special shout out to the U.S. Marshals Specialized Team members, their SOG team and the RAM team, the Rapid Advance Manhunt team with the U.S. Marshal Service. Game changer for us, big help. Also involved, the Montana Highway Patrol. I'm very proud of the Montana Patrol troopers who were involved in this. They've been here all week. Big help to us. The U.S. Forest Service has been a tremendous help to us and we're involved today. Great Falls PD were involved in the takedown today, and the Laurel Police Department. So thank you to all of our members. Look, this was a hard push. Yesterday we had about 130 personnel up on that hill pushing that area. We think that was directly correlated to flushing him out today, getting him down into an area that we know we had searched before. It's not someplace he'd been hiding. He was flushed out. So also thanks to the public. We had some tips come in, verified where we were, and we were able to move really quickly and get our suspect apprehended. So It's a great day for Montana. It's a great day for Anaconda. I hope you folks sleep well. We're probably going to go celebrate a little bit here, but this is a great day. So thank you.
Thank you, Attorney General. And now a few words from Anaconda Deer Lodge County Attorney Morgan Smith. Morgan?
Thanks, Governor. I want to talk right to the people of Anaconda. And I'm going to try my best. When Chief Souther and I first spoke about the terrible crime that occurred at the Owl Bar on Friday morning, there were two things that we discussed. The first of those was, how do we keep Anaconda safe? And how do we collectively tell Anaconda that we're going to do that? Chief told me that the only press conference he wanted to be part of was the one where we got to come here and say, we got him. Chief and I have, of course, spent the last 7 days having many conversations, but Chief's only concern remained, how do we tell Anaconda we got him? Chief, I don't know where you ended up, but today's that day. The work that our local officers, standing arm in arm with U.S. Marshals, federal agents, and members from law enforcement communities all across Montana, the work that you all did was incredible. It's often tireless and thankless work, but I hope that you find that the work that you did, those of you that participated in any portion of what happened this week, that the entire community of Anaconda is going to sleep tonight and truly rest. In full transparency, for myself and many of us involved in this isn't the end, this is the beginning. I'm confident in the investigative work that has been done to this point, and I'm also incredibly confident in the folks that are going to continue to do investigative work to make sure we can prosecute this case to the fullest extent of the law. With the relief that comes today, I know that tomorrow will bring many questions. The manhunt has come to an end, but the homicide investigation remains ongoing. Details related to that investigation will be withheld, and that's to ensure the fairness and the integrity of the case as it moves forward. I cannot possibly find the words that are appropriate to thank everybody who has worked so hard this week. It's going to take us weeks to just write down the folks, the businesses, the individuals, the organizations, all of these people behind me that contributed in some way to this. Meals, snacks, beverages, lodging, a physical space for a command center, supplies. The way the Anaconda community showed up to assist these folks doing the work that they did is going to take us a really long time to be able to appropriately thank. And I'd be remiss to stand up here and say that we are so sorry to the families of Daniel, David, Nancy, and Tony for all that you have had to endure, and know that we are going to do everything that we can to bring you the justice that your families deserve. Thanks. Ooh.
Thanks. So once again, on behalf of all the people of Montana, thank you to our law enforcement officers from all 38 or 39 different jurisdictions that came together and really collaborated to bring a decisive conclusion to this search. And to the families of those that lost lives, may God bless you and keep you. At this time, we'll open up for questions. I would ask that you please raise your hand, state your name and outlet, and we'll do our best to answer. Over here.
I'm Duncan Adams, Montana Standard. Was the suspect armed when he was apprehended, and did he resist?
I'm going to defer details about the arrest to law enforcement, or
Okay.
Austin, do you want to take it?
Yeah, we're going to be real careful about this, Duncan. I mean, was he technically armed? Yes, he was technically armed. I don't know how much further I want to go with that. I think that's as far as I'm going to go. Yeah, he had that. There was a weapon on him.
Yes.
John Riley, Montana Telephone Network. My question is actually for the county attorney. When can we expect charges to potentially be filed, and his first appearance?
Sure. So in terms of what that is going to look like and how publicly available that's going to be is developing, to be totally honest with you. I am very invested in making sure that every part of this is as fair as it can be, and that extends to the fairness to the defendant of what the pretrial coverage looks like, and that's something we're cognizant of. And so at this time, I'm not in a position to comment, but I can tell you that we're going to be working to collect hours, days, literally 7 days worth of information, and so that's going to take a long time, but we will, whatever can be shared, I promise to do, but also know that we're going to keep as a lid on what we can for the integrity of the case.
Okay. Yes.
Megan Thompson, MTN News. Was the suspect taken to a jail or something after he was arrested, or did he go to the hospital?
Go ahead.
Sure. He went, upon apprehension, he was provided medical assistance, so he was taken to a hospital, has been medically cleared, and remains in custody at this time.
Yeah, John.
It's John Amy, MTN News. How did you guys find him? Can you explain how you got the tip or where it came from to find this guy after today?
Go ahead, Lee. Yeah.
The question is, what did we do? What were the techniques to find him? Obviously, the Attorney General has talked about some of the specialized teams that were put in place. They have tremendous assets in the way of technology, canines, cameras, devices that track movement up in that area. So all of those things were in play in addition to basically human searches, walking through that difficult terrain to find it. So as all of those things were organized, we were able to eventually close in on Mr. Brown and locate him today.
Was there a tip from somebody, or did you just...
We've received several tips from the community, which put us in a certain position, investigative-wise and search-wise, that I think was advantageous in this investigation.
Yeah.
DJ Bauer, Nonstop Local, another question for law enforcement. Obviously, he was, out there for 7 days. When you found him, was he like emaciated, or was there any kind of evidence that he had like some sort of sustenance?
I thought he looked surprisingly in good shape. One of the things we did immediately was get him medically cleared, get him medical attention for as long as he's been out there. The weather certainly hasn't been, conducive to survivability, really, with no resources. But, with the ability to basically move around, potentially enter structures, have some shelter, I thought he was in pretty good shape physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zeke Lloyd, Montana Free Press. So AP reported that once he was becoming a danger to himself and others, family members reached out by phone, by email, requesting checkups on his welfare to the Anaconda Deer Lodge local police. Any comment on whether that happens?
No.
Yes.
James Rosine, editor of the Anaconda Leader. Was there any risk to the property owner or property owners with him being out there? Did they have to be evacuated? Can you speak to that at all?
Well, that's a relative situation, right? So we had an armed individual who committed 4 homicides. As we said from the beginning, there's always been tremendous risk because of that, not knowing how he was armed, if he was armed, but presuming that he was. So, with that just being in place, I think there's a perception that that's exactly what it was, that it could be very much a risk for anybody.
Hey, yeah, Jake Ellison for New York Times. Was he captured out in the open or in a structure?
He was captured right at a structure.
Any resistance?
Duncan Adams, the Montana Standard.
Yeah.
So we mentioned the physical condition. What was his mental health? Was he paranoid? Was he hallucinating? Did you get a sense of that?
I think at this time, just for the status of the investigation and the prosecution, we're not going to go there.
Okay.
He's upright. He was communicative. He did identify himself. That's probably as far as we're going to go.
Yeah.
John Riley, MTN News again. This is a question for law enforcement. Moving forward in the investigation, you mentioned it's transitioning to homicide. Will we still be seeing the massive multi-agency coordination, or is that going to be scaled down to more local and marshal services?
Morgan? Yeah.
That will be a scaled down effort. This is a request from Anaconda Deer Lodge Police Department for the Division of Criminal Investigation. We will continue to rely on our partners for their role in this investigation, but a large part of that focus now will be the Division of Criminal Investigation and Anaconda Deer Lodge police working on it.
Yeah.
Hi, Victoria Traxler with Montana Public Radio. Just got here from Missoula, so I apologize if I missed this already. Has he received medical treatment or any sort of assessment?
Yes, he has. We just addressed that. He's been medically cleared and is in custody now.
Yes.
Megan Thompson, MTN News. Can you clear up for us a little bit about the day of the shooting? There was reports that there were two cars or trucks that you were going after. There was a time it was reported that he shot the people at 10:30 in the morning, and then the chase started at 12. So what happened between the hour and a half that he was missing? Can somebody clear up that timeline for me?
Again, we're going to keep this pretty generally. There was a little time there. The suspect cleared the scene. We believe he went to his home briefly, went down the street and hid in another structure. And that's that gap in time that we're talking about there. That photo that we released of him in his underwear, that was coming out of that structure when he did finally exit. He ditched his clothes, some of his personal effects. He stole a vehicle. To that question, I mean, these things never go down like you see on TV, right? He was identified almost immediately when he got in that vehicle and took off. It was a stolen vehicle. He was identified almost immediately. The trick became an almost identical vehicle pulled into the highway in front of him. And so law enforcement wasn't sure which white F-150 he was in. One continued going west and one went up Stumptown. We found him. We identified it fairly quickly, but that's how that went.
Okay, we'll take two more. Yeah.
Zeke Lloyd again, Montana Free Press. Why did the search take a week if you knew he was in such a centralized area?
Let me just say, law enforcement did a tremendous job. They've just apprehended this person who killed 4 people. It took a week because of the country he was in. I don't want to take anything away from the Herculean effort that was put forward by law enforcement to bring this man to justice. And I am pleased to report he is in jail.
Governor
Yes.
Duncan Adams. I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry.
We'll take one last question. Yep.
John Riley, MTN News. With this coming to a close, is there any plans for memorials or services or for the victims?
Yeah, Morgan.
So I think, to be totally frank with you, I don't think anybody's been in a position to make plans. I think the community as a whole has been on edge. I can tell you that upon confirmation of apprehension today, my office was able to contact all the victims' families and provide them official notice that he was in custody. My understanding from that is that this is day one of all of those folks being able to move forward. I know there have been a lot of kind of online traction in terms of efforts to provide support to victim families. I've not seen anything that I'm at least in a position to say that I'm sure is concrete, but I am confident that the community of Anaconda is going to do everything they can to rally around those folks, and I think today's day one of being able to do that.
And as just a quick follow-up, have there been any official funds set up if people want to help support either the coverage of funeral costs or families impacted?
I've not seen anything official. I have seen some shared. I know that there are some bars across the state of Montana that are planning to do some crowdfunding of sorts. You'd have thought I learned with this wind on Tuesday, apologies. And that I know locally, the family of the Owl Bar has set up some fundraising. I've not heard of anything other than that at this point, but certainly if we get word of it and there's a way that we can push that out to you guys, I'd be happy to do that.
Governor, I got my question back.
Okay, this will be the last one.
I think it was mentioned that there was this big flush yesterday. I know there was a lot of police out there, a lot of law enforcement, and a terrible storm came up kind of around 1 o'clock. Is it believed that big effort is what pushed him out of there and led him to this trailer?
I believe it certainly contributed to it. So the challenge is you don't know exactly where he's at, but we knew exactly where we needed to search, and I think it contributed to our success today.
Well, we have a lot to celebrate, and just particularly with the Herculean effort that law enforcement put forward. This man has been apprehended. He's in custody. He'll be brought to justice, and Anaconda can sleep better tonight. Thank you for being out here today.
Good job. Yes, I did. Hey, boss. Boss. Everything like